Monday, June the 18th, 2007. Will please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, Tracy, please.
Arbogast.
Here.
Garnos.
Here.
Gisselbeck.
Here.
Heller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Meisenheimer.
Here.
Solberg. Walder.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
And York.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Before we actually get into the agenda, we'll have an award presentation by Captain Dave Haig of the Watertown Police Department and Kelly Rumsa of Human Service Agency. So,
Never been first before.
you are tonight.
Thank you. For those of you that don't know Kelly Rumsa, she works with the Human Services Agency in Watertown. Very, very active in issues relative to youth safety. She's a Watertown Healthy Youth Coordinator and works with the police department quite frequently on various topics that involve our youth and their safety and traffic safety. And she's going to help me tonight make this little presentation. And as you know, we at the police department have been very vocal over the last few years about a variety of traffic safety topics to include not drinking and driving, don't speed, buckle your seatbelt, put your kids in car seats, wear your helmets, and things like that. Many of you have probably been hearing lately a barrage of radio commercials on the radio regarding seatbelt safety, not only in Watertown but statewide. And the Watertown Police Department has been a participant in many of those ads promoting seatbelt safety. And it's part of our continuing efforts just to promote safe driving practices in general. In fact, as recently as the last week of May and the first week of this month, June, we participated in a national Click It or Ticket campaign. And part of that program, Kelly actually helped the police department promoting seatbelt safety. We held an event at Hy-Vee where we handed out flyers and a lot of promotional activities, again, just to promote safe driving practices and to get people to buckle their seatbelts. And it was an incident that occurred during that time that I would like to bring to your attention tonight and recognize and give some emphasis to. And the young man who is going to be honored tonight doesn't know yet why he's here, but I would like to call Jacob Burry to come up here and stand beside us, please. This is Jacob Burry. During our 2-week national Click It or Ticket campaign, Jacob had the unfortunate experience of being involved in a rollover accident here in the city limits of Watertown. He swerved to miss a deer on the west edge of town. As a result, went into a very steep ditch and rolled his car. And we're quite confident that because he chose to wear his seatbelt that he survived that accident. And at the very, very least, saved himself from some severe injury. And as you know, whenever there's a rollover, especially in a rural setting such as this accident occurred, chances of survival, if you're not buckled in or belted in, is slim. So I would just like to take this moment to read the citation on the it's called the Saved by the Seatbelt Award. It's being presented on behalf of the Watertown Police Department by Kelly and myself. And it says, on Thursday, May 24th, 2007 at 4:17 p.m., Jacob was involved in a rollover accident near Memorial Park. Jacob's use of the seatbelt was responsible for saving his life, or at the very least saving him from very serious injury. Jacob's use of a seatbelt serves as an example to all of us for the importance of wearing seatbelts and is deserving of recognition. Well, at this time, I'd like to present to you Jacob and present the award to him for his conscious effort to wear that seatbelt. And I'm sure his parents are proud of him, too. Congratulations.
Surprise.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item number 2 is the approval of the minutes of the city council meetings held June the 4th in 2007. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any additions or corrections? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3 is applications for transfer of retail on-off sale malt beverage licenses. We'll begin with number A from Bruce Burkhart, which is inactive, of 214 Summerwood Drive, to Bruce Burkhart Willow Creek Casino, 1341 9th Avenue Southeast. We'll begin with the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue? Tracy, is everything in order?
As far as I know, everything is in order. The Board of Adjustment did authorize this location because it had not previously been authorized for an on-sale beer license. At their, I believe their most recent meeting did approve that location.
Okay, thank you. If not, then I'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion for the approval of this transfer? So moved by Alderman Wilson. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any additions, questions, or questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 3B is Freedom Value Centers Incorporated, Gold Mine 2 inactive of 615 Southeast 9th Avenue. 2 Freedom Value Centers Incorporated, Gold Mine 225 West Kemp. And we'll begin with the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue? If not, then we'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion for the approval of this transfer? So moved by Alderman Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any additional questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 3C, from Freedom Value Centers Incorporated, Gold Mine 225 West Kemp, to Freedom Value Centers Incorporated, Gold Mine 2 to inactive status of 615 Southeast 9th Avenue. We'll begin with the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue? If not, I'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion for the approval of the transfer? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 4 is applications for renewal of retail on-off sale malt beverage licenses. We'll be doing these in one motion, beginning with Bruce Burkhardt doing business as Willow Creek Casino of 1341 9th Avenue Southeast. Second is the Freedom Value Centers Gold Mine of 225 West Kemp. And then Freedom Value Centers Gold Mine 2 to inactive status at 615 Southeast 9th Avenue. Is there a motion for the approval of these renewal? So moved by Alderwoman Walder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 5 is the Eastwoods 11th edition. Sarah, you'll lead us through that?
Sure. Good evening. Eastwoods 11th is shown on the screen. It's the red area. It's owned by Joy Nelson and Peggy Haugen. It's 4.7 acres, and they're proposing 8 residential single lots on this. Along with the annexation, they're asking for the R1 zoning designation and plat approval tonight. Everything is consistent with the approved preliminary plan, and the staff recommends approval of the annexation and the zoning.
We'll begin with item A of 5, which is the annexation resolution number 07-34. Is there a motion for the approval? So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Going on to B, which is the ordinance number 07-18, establishing the zoning designation. We'll begin with the second reading. Sarah?
An ordinance amending zoning district boundaries by establishing zoning designation of R1 single-family residential district for certain real property annexed into the city in the northwest quarter of section 28-117-52.
We'll begin with the public hearing. Sarah, would you like to begin the public hearing?
Same information. The zoning is consistent with the approved preliminary plan.
And it's recommended for
It's
approval.
recommended.
Is anyone else here to speak to the issue? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion for the approval of ordinance number 07-18? So moved by Alderman Garnos. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further addition, questions, or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to plat documents. Sarah?
Okay, the letter of assurance that's in your plat is the letter of assurance which was recommended by the Plan Commission. And I should point out that this is the first plat that's come forward since we've passed and have the ability to require letters of credit or bonding, along with improvements that will be made in the public right-of-way. And the first draft of the letter of assurance, which I wrote, included a requirement for that, to have a letter of credit or bond for the construction of the street there. And after the public hearing at the Plan Commission meeting, the developer strongly did not want to do that, and the Plan Commission voted to remove the requirement from the letter of assurance. They want to think about it more and have a little bit more time to think about when and where they'll require these additional assurances. So at this time, the letter of assurance that you have is just like the ones we've always had in the past, and there is wording in there that they have to do it, and if they don't make the improvements, that the city can make the improvements and then bill them back. And that's the standard language. And there's one other thing in the letter of assurance which is a little different from normal, and that is that there's one lot which is not having a street improved in front of it. And so, and the reason for that was they had originally platted 7 lots, but they needed 8 for some business that they were doing. So they added this extra lot, but the letter of assurance says that until they make the improvements to that street, there's no building right on that lot. And we would just as soon they not improve that street right now, because it's a dead-end street and we don't want to make it any longer until we have the ability for traffic to turn around. And it's just not ready for that at this point. So we're all on the same page as far as the developer and the city staff for approving this, and we're okay with it. The developer has told me that they are willing to sign the letter of assurance as written.
Very good. Thank you, Sarah. Is there a motion for the approval of the letter of assurance? So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Giselbeck. Any further questions or discussion?
I have one little question
Sure.
on sidewalk issue. Is there any issue there with that extra lot?
The
Since
sidewalks, generally, the requirement to build a sidewalk is passed on to the person that builds the home there. That would be the same here, and there's no building right, so there won't be a sidewalk there. At the time that the street's improved in the future, then it will receive a building right, and at that time, if someone comes forward with a building permit, then they would put in the sidewalk.
Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the approval of Resolution 07-35. Sarah?
Yeah, this is the plat that I've shown up here, and the plat for including Cherry Drive has already been approved up to this point here with Eastwood's 10th, and then this section back here plus this one little lot is Eastwood's 11th. This is the lot without the building right, and this cul-de-sac will be constructed and these lots will have a building right.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Is there a motion then for the approval of Resolution 07-35?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any further discussion or questions?
This goes right up and takes out the trees that are there too, isn't it? There's quite a group.
There are trees there, and I'm not sure how many of those. I'm sure they'll leave as many as they can. The trees are back in this
On that
area,
east side.
right?
This doesn't quite get there.
Say that again, Herb?
I don't believe this.
Well, this is, if you look on this picture here, you can see
Right there.
Yeah, I will.
that I don't know that they'll actually take out trees for construction of the road. They probably won't. Maybe for some of the home sites, they may have to take out a few.
The adjacent property owner is certainly aware of the fact that at a point in time they would have to move those. We spent quite a bit of time discussing and actually redoing this whole master plan to make accommodations for that current property owner. Yes.
Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Sarah. Item number 6 is the Watertown Co-op Milk Producers rezoning, ordinance number 07-19. Sarah, again?
The second reading here, an ordinance amending zoning district boundaries by rezoning certain real property from C3 Highway Commercial District to I1 Light Industrial District. bring up a picture of this site. This is a 1-acre lot located on the north side of 20th Avenue South, and it's between Highway 81 and Broadway Streets. Just this is the ethanol plant. It's a little bit east of that. And the reason that it's owned by the, as you said, the Watertown Co-op Milk Producers Association, and they would like to rezone it to I-1 so that they can put in contractor shop in that lot. That's not allowed in a C3. It would be a spot zone for I-1, but it's already a spot C3 zone. The comp plan for this area has this whole area as economic development, commercial industrial in the county, and industrial in the city. So it fits with that. The only glitch is there is an existing building on site which now is conforming, and it would need to be surveyed to see exactly, but the setback required for C3 is 20 feet from the side and 25 feet for I-1, and that building is about 22 feet back, so it might be non-conforming by a couple of feet. But we don't see that as a big issue, and we support the rezone request.
Okay. That was the second reading then?
Yes.
The Plan
Okay.
Commission also recommended approval of that.
Okay. We'll begin with a public hearing then. Is there anyone here to speak on the issue? Or is there any additional comments you'd like to make, Sarah?
No.
Okay. Very good. I'll close the public hearing and go to council action. Is there a motion then for the approval of ordinance 07-19? So moved by Alderman Garnos, seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Agenda item number 7 is consideration of bids for construction of the Willow Creek Lift Station project. Dave?
Good evening. Bids were opened for the Willow Creek Lift Station project on June 8th. 2 bids were received, with the low bidder being H&W Contracting of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The design engineers for the project, Scott Engineering Company, has reviewed the bids and made a recommendation that the base bid plus alternate 1 and item 1 of alternate 2 be accepted. Alternate 1 is for the calibration of the radio telemetry, and item 1 of alternate 2 is for a pump which has better solids handling characteristics, which will help with the problem we have been experiencing with the existing pumps in the existing lift station out there. The base bid plus the 2 alternates would be a total contract amount of $217,985, and this comes to you with the recommendation of the Public Works Committee for acceptance.
Is there a motion then to that effect, please? So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8 is consideration of bids for construction of the Southwest Storm Sewer Project. Dave?
This bid was also opened on June 8th. We received 8 bids for this project, and H&W Contracting of Sioux Falls was also the low bidder on this project. It's our recommendation that the bid be awarded to H&W Contracting for the bid amount of $800,122.86, and this comes to you with the recommendation of the Public Works Committee for acceptance.
Is there a motion then to approve that bid? So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 9 is consideration of change order to contracts for the Watertown Regional Airport improvements. That's with Midland Contracting Incorporated and Muth Electric Incorporated. And Dave?
Due to the wet conditions this past spring, it has been requested that the completion date of phase 1 of the project with Midland Contracting and Muth Electric be extended from June 30th to July 15th. It's not anticipated that this change will have any effect on the final completion of the project. It's a recommendation of the engineers on the projects, Helms and Associates, and the Public Works Committee that this change order be accepted.
Is there a motion then for the approval of the change order to the contracts? So moved by Alderwoman Arbogast. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 10 is consideration of amendment number 2 to the agreement with Helms and Associates for professional services for the Watertown Regional Airport. Dave?
This amendment is to add the professional engineering services necessary for the bidding and negotiation services for the wildlife fencing improvements portion of this project, which was recently added to the project. The amendment is for a lump sum fee of $5,356.36, which the city's share will be 30%. It's a recommendation of the Public Works Committee that this amendment be approved.
Is there a motion then to approve the amendment number 2? So moved by Alderman Heller. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 11 is consideration of a change order with Gray Construction for sidewalk trench drain for the uptown renovations, which is a plus of $1,996. And Dave?
This change order is for providing a drain under the sidewalk on the west side of South Maple between the museum and Slumberland. There's an existing small diameter pipe that goes under the sidewalk in this location, and it's been a problem as far as plugging and has on a couple occasions caused the water to back up and get into the basement of Slumberland. Since they're doing all of the sidewalk work in this area, it's our recommendation that this trench drain be installed to replace the pipe under the sidewalk. And this comes to you with the recommendation of the Engineering Department and the Public Works Committee for this change order in the amount of $1,966.
Okay, is there a motion then to, I said 1,996, it's 1,666?
966.
It's 1,960.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion then for the approval of that change order with Gray Construction? So moved by Alderman Johnson. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any further questions or discussion?
If I
not-
can just,
yes, Tracy.
clarify the amount, the letter from Gray does say $1,996.
Oh, okay.
Has that been corrected, or is that
No,
correct?
I have the wrong on my sheet here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dave. Agenda item number 12 is consideration of change order for Phase 4, the uptown renovations for a Fertigator Flow Model number 2 in the amount of $7,513. Herb?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Change order number 2 from Gray Construction requests an increase of $7,513 for a fertilizer feeding system to be added to the tree watering system. There will be a total of 6 of these feeders to be added at the water metering pit locations around the project area. The purpose of this system is to completely automate the watering at each location. Hopefully, when we're all said and done, we can eliminate the person that's dragging a tank around and trying to water flowers and that all summer. Breakout of the costs as follows: $4,200 for the 6 feeder systems at $700 per system. Another $2,340 for additional plumbing required by municipal utilities to prevent backflow and contamination of potable water. Bill Riefenberger from Urban Renewal indicates that he believes there's sufficient funds within the project contingency to cover the cost, but if not, there's additional urban renewal funds to cover any difference that might exist. Approval of this change comes with a recommendation from the Public Works Committee at their last meeting. I'd therefore request a motion for approval of change order number 2 for an increase of $7,513.
Is there a motion then to that effect, please? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any further questions or discussion?
I just had one question. We had a discussion at Public Works about who would be responsible for winterizing that system and everything. Did we, and that we made a note to have that taken care of. Did we do that so that it doesn't get overlooked and end up freezing up right away?
We have taken care of it. In fact, Bill is working with several of our landscapers around here to come up with a solution for that.
This is just for the current project, not the stuff that was done previously, right?
Just the current project.
Is that on schedule then, Herb? Is it moving along on schedule?
As far as I can tell right now, yes.
Okay. Very good. Is all those in favor then, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 13 is to authorize advertising for bids for the wastewater and solid waste department's equipment, which is the pan and tilt sewer camera, the landfill MadVac, and the landfill 4-inch pump in 95-gallon waste containers. Mike Berger.
Thank you. The first item listed was was for the wastewater sewer collection subdivision. The pan and tilt sewer camera, the current unit is 6 years old, and of course that's used routinely inside the corrosive environment of a sewer pipe. We have budgeted $26,900 for this replacement. The next item, at the landfill, we have budgeted $19,350 to replace the MadVac. That unit is a portable diesel-powered vacuum system mounted on a trailer used for litter patrol. That unit's also 6 years old. Next, we have budgeted for a 4-inch diesel pump. We've budgeted $25,000 for this pump, and this pump is used mainly to load compost leachate from the pond into tankers for disposal at the wastewater treatment facility. And then finally, we have budgeted $14,000 for the blue municipal solid waste 95-gallon containers and $33,000 for the green yard waste containers. And these come before you with the approval of the June 12th Public Works Committee.
Is there a motion then to authorize the advertising for bids? So moved by Alderwoman Arbogast. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mike. Item number 14 is the library project, and we have two, beginning with a change order number 4 to the contract with Jans Corporation in the amount of $1,595.28. And Mike?
Mayor, Council, yeah, actually there are 3 items there. One of them isn't showing on your agenda. It was added late today. The first item there, the change order, that is an incorrect number. The correct number is on the sheet that I laid out on your desk prior to the meeting. That's for $21,999. This is a compilation of a bunch of small, 14 small change orders or changes that have been made in the project.
So that is change order number 4 then?
That is change order number 4.
And that's in the amount of $21,999.
Correct.
Okay. Just kind of final things to get done before the...
These are a bunch of things that have been done over last several months that have been signed off on by you,
myself, right?
By the mayor,
Okay.
yes.
Yep. Okay, is there a motion then for the approval of change order number 4 in the contract with Jans Corporation? So moved by Alderman Wilson. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further questions or discussion?
Yeah, I have one question for Mike. Number 11, painting extras for $3,600. That sounds like quite a bit of painting for...
That was actually a result of some changes that were made that they put up some different types of materials that then had to be painted that weren't originally in the painting contract. Is that sufficient detail for you?
I just felt it was quite a bit for just some painting extras, $3,600. That sounds like you can do a lot of painting for that.
That's something we requested or something they screwed up on and had to fix?
It was actually as a result of several of the changes that were made through here in some of these other change orders, where once they got through, they said, hey, we made that change, but now we need to do the painting. Some of those were at our request, George, not all of them.
Mike, if I recall, a large portion of that had to do with the change of the acoustical panels, the Tectum panels that were originally spec'd that were removed from by way of a previous change order, and then the spray-on acoustical material that then had to be painted. And so there was a large credit given back earlier for removal from the contract of those Tectum panels, so this basically is kind of an offset to some of those savings that we experienced earlier on in the project.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item number B is the approval of additional work to add gypsum board soffits in the vestibule in the amount of $8,156. Mike?
That's exactly what they did. They
Okay.
had to cover steel.
Okay,
Once they found it, they said, hey, that needs to be covered.
there we go. Is there a motion then for the approval of the additional work?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Johnson, seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now, you say there's a third one, Mike,
There
which
is a
I don't have.
There is a third one. This is, was laid on your desk prior to the meeting. It's for additional asphalt in the street. This came as a result, as a request from the street department to change the, I don't know quite how to describe it, but to change the slope in the dip in the road. So
We installed a valley gutter to improve the drainage.
It becomes readily understandable. If you drive over there and look at the new valley, you'll see what needs to be done. It's way
Yes.
lower than the actual road is, so,
Yes.
yeah, so. Okay, is there a motion then for the approval of the RFP number 39, the additional asphalt in the streets surrounding the valley gutter per the city in the amount of $7,934.98?
I'll move that.
Motion by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any further questions or discussion?
Is this a result of engineering or?
I would have to ask Mike Rye as to what that was. All I know is that a valley gutter was put in to cause the drainage across the front to cross Bruin Avenue. Historically, we've always had poor drainage there. There's always been a pond there. I think the feeling was at the time to put the valley gutter in, that's going to clear up that problem. Once they put the valley gutter in, it brought that dip much lower. And then Mike looked at that and said, no, you need to slope this so that we don't have this big dip, so that it's a little more gentle. Is that a fair statement?
So that was done before the other asphalt was put in?
What we're talking about, Tuffy, is a practice when we install valley gutter at an intersection. It will automatically lower the asphalt or the grade in that area. So what we have to do is we have to taper back from the valley gutter to, in essence, create a transition strip so we don't have a big bump there. That's what the additional asphalt's for. It's a shaping.
Any other questions?
So, Mike, can you just give us a quick update on the overall project?
Where we are?
Yep.
I received Friday a sack of keys about that big. They have in essence turned the building over to it's substantially complete. They're finishing up some minor things. This asphalt is one of the things that, actually the major thing I believe, that needs to be done. The steel shelvers started putting those things together this morning. Basically, our plans are that come the end of business on the 3rd of July, we're going to lock up the temporary location. All of us are going to go out and relax for the 4th and come back and start packing up. On the 11th of July, Barclay Mayflower is going to come in and move all of the collections in one day over to the new facility. Then my staff and I are going to be over there and work until the 23rd of July, when we'll open the door at 10 o'clock in the morning with the ribbon cutting. Then a couple weeks later, August 7th through the 11th, there's a whole series of festivities We're having the municipal band. Herb's going to come play for us, among other people. We're having the poet laureate here. We're having a storyteller, some special cartoon characters or storybook characters. And then on the 11th is the grand dedication ceremony, and you should all have received invitations to that. We'll also have the unveiling of the sculpture that was dedicated for Alan Austin at that time. So it's moving right along.
Mike, the other day when I was in there, one of your staff told me that everyone in town can help with the moving by coming in on the 2nd or 3rd and checking out as many books as possible, and then you won't have to move those.
That'd be wonderful, especially if they kept them at home and waited until after we reopened to return them.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Any other questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 15 is the appointment of Jim Bassingwaite to fill the vacancy of the Plan Commission and Board of Adjustment. Andy Mahold had retired, and I had sent out to you the biographical information for Jim Bassingwaite. He's agreed to fill that position. And if I could have a motion for his approval, please. Alderman Wilson, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any questions? or
Great
discussion?
choice. Great
Okay,
choice.
thank you very much. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Jim. Item number 16 is the approval of business license applications for a taxi cab driver. That's Kristen Rasmussen, and a gas fitter contractor, Frisbee's Plumbing and Heating, and a gas fitter for Greg Shriver. Tracy, is there anything we need to be aware of with those?
No,
No, everything's
everything's in
okay?
order.
Okay, very good. May I have a motion then for that approval? So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Giselbeck. Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 17 was dealt with at the last meeting. Number 18 is the open. I'll refer to your handout. There's 2 items. Number 1 is the authorization for the police department to apply for and participate in the Edward Byrne Grant Program in the amount of $147,000 for software. Chief Vitek?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As you know, the Watertown Police Department's dispatch center dispatches, it's a regional dispatch center, and we dispatch for several counties to include Coddington, Day, Grant, Hamlin, and the southern portion of Roberts County. And just to give you an idea, the region encompasses about 6,400 miles of roadways and covers about 3,400 square miles. Contained within that are about 47,500 people who rely on the Watertown Dispatch Center. We serve 12 law enforcement agencies, which include municipal, county, and tribal entities as well. We also service 31 fire departments, 8 ambulance services, and 3 search and rescue entities, along with 5 emergency management agencies. I think sometimes people don't realize what those folks in the dispatch center do. We've come across a grant. It's entitled the Edward Byrne Memorial Discretionary Grant. There are no matching funds required. It is our hope that through this grant we would be able to secure funds that would help us facilitate our wireless mobile data connect. As you know, we've implemented the laptops in the patrol cars. The next thing that we need to do is make those have wireless connect to our police server, our police department server. We've talked with Hamlin County. Hamlin County is wishing to serve as a portion of this as a pilot program, if you will, that once we've established this cellular wireless connectivity, this will enable not only our officers with the laptops that exist to access tag checks, warrants checks right from their car computers, as well as facilitate the flow of information. We hope that eventually in a phase of this that we would allow Hamlin County to have these laptops, which are pretty spendy, as you know, and also have that connectivity as a pilot program to see how we do and handle that in a regional. This would allow them access to our CAD server. So we're requesting that. There's, like I said, there's no matching funds. This comes under the U.S. Department of Justice. We hope that we're successful in this endeavor. We think it would be a huge step forward. And so tonight I make that request to make application for that grant.
Is there a motion then for the authorization for the police department to apply for and participate in the Edward Byrne Grant Program? So moved by Alderman Garnos, seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any further questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2 on the open is a request by the Police Department to issue a check to the New World Systems for software in the amount of $27,400. Chief Vitek.
Thank you, Mayor. This request comes to you, just authorization for finance to cut a special check. There was some miscommunication on the police department's part as well as New World, which delayed the billing process. We were shy about 4 days from meeting the deadline in May. They're simply trying to make their second quarter business, and they've been great to work with. As you know, they're responsible for our RMS and our CAD and also our field reporting software. So this is a request because we were shy of 4 days, that special cut be checked to pay for that, which is a capital improvement project that's been approved.
Is there a motion then for the approval of that check issuance? So moved by Alderwoman Walder, seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief Vitek.
Thank you.
Back to the regular agenda. Item number 19 is old business.
Mayor, probably under
Yes.
open, I would also like to announce for the press's benefit mainly that we'll be having, just to not get in the way of open meeting laws, we'll be having a coffee hour just to kind of recognize Larry and Brad for going off the council immediately following the council meeting tonight. And you're all invited.
You got the tar and feathers in place?
We have cookies.
Okay, that's good. Okay, we're moving on to old business. Are there any old business to take care of? If not, we'll move to new business. Item number 20, is there any new business that we need to deal with? Are there any liaison member reports?
Safety Committee meeting tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
And Mayor, I would just like to remind everyone that tomorrow is Election Day in Watertown. There are a number of folks running for 2 open school board seats, as well as a council race in Ward E. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and all voting will be at the Watertown Civic Arena.
Tracy, how has the absentee ballot voting been going? Have you?
I believe we've had a little over 100 folks come in and early vote, which is down considerably from 2 years ago, but then at that point we had, I think, a lot more interest in the races that were taking place.
I see. Thank you. We will need to go into executive session to discuss some pending litigation, and when I don't anticipate there'll be any action when we return into regular session. So if I may have a motion then to go in executive session? So moved by Alderman Arbogast. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Solberg. All in favor say aye. Opposed? We will go in executive session.